Although God has delivered us from depression, although God has set us free from suicidal thoughts, although he has set us free from all of these things, why is it that we turn away from him and turn to something else? And this is what he gave me. He said it's because we don't have faith over sight. In 2 Corinthians 5, verse 7, it says, for we walk by faith and not by. Right. I'm going to do a back to the book series, Disu. We got to learn this Bible a little bit. See, these Israelites couldn't see what the Lord was trying to do through Moses. And here's what I believe. These Israelites trusted in Moses more than they trusted in God. They trusted in the one that they could see more than the one that they couldn't see. Not knowing that the one that they could see, the one that they couldn't see, was leading the one that they could see. And as long as Moses was around, they were good. But as soon as Moses went away for a while in the mountains, they had to rely on another thing that they could see. And we as people, we do the same thing. The moment you think God has let you down, you move to the next thing. The moment we don't see God moving in our lives, we turn away from him and turn to the next thing. But let me tell you why we do that. We haven't fully put our trust in the one that we can't see, which is God. We trust in what the Lord has given us, money, cars, a roof over our head. But the question is, what if God just stopped? What if you couldn't see the blessings that God gives no more? What if you couldn't see it no more? Would you still trust him? We would rather trust in what we can see rather than trusting in the one that we can't see. And let me tell you, it's a valid reason, because I know myself. I mean, my dad is a pastor. I've been in church my whole life, but I had moments where I'm like, I don't know if I really want to do this God thing, because I really haven't seen him before. I haven't seen nothing. But then I came to a realization, everything I look at was created by him. That's a whole nother message. We haven't fully put our trust in him. But if my Bible says that we should walk by faith and not by, if we should walk by faith and not by, and my Bible says that blessed are those who don't see but still believe, we have to get to a point as followers of Christ that we don't need to see to believe. Because if you only rely on what you see, when y'all start getting older and you start having to start pay bills, sometimes, I had a couple bills that I couldn't pay before, but all I was looking at is the bill. I wasn't looking at God. But when you get older and all you see is that bill you can't pay, you won't be able to see that God got you on the other side. If you continue to rely on what you see, you will only see the giant that's standing in front of you, instead of seeing God standing behind you, ready to fight your battle. Now let's look at Matthew 5, verses 25 to 31. It says, shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to them walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. It's a ghost, they said, and cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid. Verse 28, it says, Lord, if it's you, Peter replied, tell me to come and walk on the water as well. See, I'm like Peter. I would have tested Jesus in that moment. If it's really you, help me work on water too. I want the bragging rights of telling people I actually walked on water before. But then Jesus said, come on. Then Peter got out of the boat, walked on water, and came towards Jesus. But when he saw the winds, he was afraid and he began to sink, crying out, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus reached out his hand, caught him, and he said, you of little faith. He said, why did you doubt? Why did you doubt? When Peter took his attention off the one who was holding him up already, he started to sink. And that's what we do. We decided to take our eyes off Jesus, the one that we can't see, and focus on the storm, the thing that we can see. But if you can just understand that whatever storm you're going through, Jesus, the one you can't see, can speak to that same storm you're facing and say, peace, be still, and you will be all right. So we have to understand the one we can't see is helping us the most. The Israelites created an idol and worshiped the idol. Why? Moses was gone. But if they had faith in God over faith in what they could see, then the idol that they created would have never been created. But I have a question for you. How long will you focus on what you see rather than focusing on the one you believe in? I'm going to say it again. How long will you focus on what you can see? The job that you don't have right now, or the depression that you're facing right now, the mountain that you're facing right now, the storm you're facing right now, the whooping you might get when you get home, or when you can't do nothing this summer because you had bad grades in school. How long will you focus on what you see rather than focusing on the one you believe in? I also have a take-home statement for you. Write it down. When you trust in the one you can't see, then you won't focus so much on the thing you can see. Israel had a challenge in front of them. They had this challenge. They wanted a leader. So they wanted a leader, but instead of worshiping God, the one that they couldn't see, they created the golden calf, something that they could see. And they worshiped that. And I don't want us to hop into the same problem as them. When we are presented with a problem, don't turn to something else. Turn to God, because if Psalm 121 says, verses 1 through 2, it says, I lift my eyes to the mountain. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth.